welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today, I'm doing something that I have never done before on the channel, and it's play Standard. The reason I'm doing this is this video is releasing the day before Regional Championship Dallas starts. I am qualified for that Regional Championship, and it would be pretty cool to get back on the Pro Tour. The format is Standard, and I've been playing quite a bit of this deck in my off time, and figured I'd turn the camera on for at least one of them. I have no intentions of becoming a Standard channel. This is probably only going to happen this one time, at least until the next Regional Championship I have to practice, but I do actually think Standard is cool, and despite being a Legacy person primarily, Modern Vintage, I've gone years at a time without playing Standard in my Magic career. I do actually believe that a healthy, thriving Standard is essential to Magic the Gathering. And this format's actually pretty dope. There's good aggro decks, there's good combo decks, and there's really good control decks. And I've got one of them in front of me here. Dimir Control. The list that got me excited, Edgar Magayesh made top 8, maybe top 4 of the Canadian Regional Championship a couple weeks ago. And I was following his live tweets, and he posted his list, and it's just like, yeah, this is the kind of Magic I want to play. This is just counter spells, lots of them, 3 steps ahead, pretty close to Cryptic Command, negate, counters a lot of important stuff in the format, Tishana's Tidebinder. Then we got 6 Wrath of Gods in the main deck, Deadly Cover-Up and Path of Peril, a bunch of spot removal, and the win conditions are Restless Reef, which is a 4/4 that when it attacks target player mills 4, and Jace perfected mine. There's 2 of these, and -X target player mills 3 cards X times. What that means is the actual plan A of this deck is to deck your opponent. Just counter the first 20 or 30 cards they play, and then play 2 Jaces in the same turn and mill them for 30, is generally how these games go. Deadly Cover-Up is a really cool card. This is a 5-mana Wrath of God that if you collect Evidence 6, which means exile 6 mana value worth of cards from your graveyard when you cast it, you also get to Surgical Extraction your opponent. You choose a card from their graveyard, exile it, then search their graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name, and then they draw a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. And this is a really interesting object in the Standard format. If you're not familiar with the format, I was surprised how good this is, because a 5-mana Wrath is fine anyway. Like, this format's kind of balanced around Sunfall in a lot of ways, out of the Domain and blue-white decks. So 5-mana Wrath, already fine. But the Exile from the Graveyard Slogurk combo is a deck in this format, and taking out their Slogurks or taking out their Takanumas collapses the combo. And then they're just kind of a mid-range deck. Aftermath Analyst is a combo enabler in this format, just a massive ramp deck that ends up killing you with giant fireballs in the endgame when they have literally hundreds of mana. And even though that deck doesn't really have creatures, this format and the way that this deck creates games is you could slow the game down enough, counter one of their fireballs or one of their Virtue of Strength, I believe is what the card's called, that triples their mana. And then if you just pay 6 mana and exile 6 mana value worth of cards just for the Surgical Extraction, even if you kill no creatures, that's still pretty good in a lot of matchups. Blue-white is the default control deck. It gets a cheaper creature land, activates for 3 instead of 4. It gets a mana leak in terms of no moralize. But I like that blue-black gets duress. I like the black removal a lot. I feel favored versus blue-white, which is important. Blue-white is better versus aggro, which blue-black is pretty bad against, I'm not going to lie. Like, Boros Convoke, not a deck I want to queue into. But I have been enjoying this deck. I've been winning a lot more than I'm losing, and that's mostly what I want. I think at the Regional Championship level, it's more important to understand your deck well than to particularly choose the perfect deck. And this is my vibe, and I'm going to try it here on the channel. Let's do it. This is the first ever BoshNRoll Standard video. I'm on the play in round 1, and unfortunately have to mulligan. Despite playing 27 lands, this 1-lander, no good. I would have kept it with 2 because Deduce is great, but gonna mulligan a 1. Yeah, this is fine. I'm going to keep this, and I think I'm going to get rid of the Deadly Cover-Up. That's kind of a gamble based on what I think my opponent might be playing. There's some matchups where you really want a Wrath in your opening hand to build your game around, and there's more matchups, I think, like all the combo and control matchups, where you would rather just draw a bunch of cards and find the Wrath later. And I'm not going to bottom a land and risk missing land drops. You really want like your first 8 to 10 land drops in this deck, which is crazy. Totally different vibe than Legacy or Modern or Vintage. Looks like we're playing against Golgari. I don't have a lot of experience in this matchup. Happy to see it. And step to Deuce. Now I have a counter spell up. 3 steps ahead. For 1 blue, it's just cancel, counter target spell. If you have another 2, you can draw 2, discard a card when you cast it. And then sometimes you can copy an artifact or creature you control, but you don't play very many of those. Okay, Graveyard Trespasser. This is fine. This just dies to Long Goodbye. And I don't even have to pay the ward because my spell can't be countered. Okay, goodbye. No. Ha ha ha. No, I don't think I will, Captain America meme. Restless Reef. So if I play Takenuma, I could draw 2 cards this turn. I could deduce and crack a clue. If I play Restless Reef, I still have up 3 steps. Yeah, I'm going to play the tap land. I think that's fine. Okay, here we go. Turtle time. When Blossoming Tortoise enters the battlefield or attacks, mill 3 cards and return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Activated ability of lands you control cost 1 less. Land creatures you control get +1/+1. This card looks really good, and I don't currently have a better answer for it, so I'm just going to counter it. I kind of hate using one of my hard counters on a creature when my deck has so much creature removal, but I did just bottom that Wrath off the mulligan. And Cut Down just hasn't lined up against anything they've played yet. Shipwreck Marsh. Restless Cottage activates for 4, and it is a 4/4 that makes a food when it attacks, and exiles a card from a graveyard. Another Trespasser. I'll draw a card in response. Go for the throat. Okay. That's a removal spell. It's already nighttime, because that's how werewolves work these days. Okay, exiling 2 creatures from their own graveyard to get the drain, rather than go after the spells in mine. I am a Memory Deluge deck, which is a powerful thing from my graveyard. Sunken Citadel, Field of Ruin. So Field of Ruin's great because these creature lands are so central to the format. I'm going to play out the Field of Ruin just to make sure I don't die to some mess. And I'm probably going to go for the throat, discarding Cut Down on this Graveyard Glutton. Okay, I'm going for this thing's throat. It has ward, discard a card, so I'll have to do that. This one is counterable. Oh no, what's happening? Okay, I don't care about this. Okay, so I'm going to let the go for the throat resolve, and then I'll kill this Restless Cottage. Field of Ruin, absolute unit. That basically just cost them their whole turn, and I'm still going to do everything I want, including Eat the Clue. I wonder what the 5 cards in their hand are that animating that land into my removal spell made more sense than just casting a creature or something. I do need a Memory Deluge or something to reload here, because running out of gas quickly. Go for the throat. Okay. Shipwreck Marsh. I can get an attack in and still hold up Go for the throat for the creature land. I might be fueling some engine that they have by milling them. Like I said, I'm not super confident in the Golgari deck and the matchup or what this deck even does. But I do want to take these chip shots where I can get them because, like I said, milling them is actually the win con. Mirex, this thing is terrifying. Makes a 1/1 Phyrexian every turn. And I just used a Field of Ruin. I don't have eyes on another one. Gitrog, Ravenous Ride. Whenever this deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a creature that saddled it. If you do, draw X, put X lands from your graveyard onto the battlefield. Tap X is that creature's power. Okay. It cannot currently be saddled. It is a giant trample haste creature, though. I'm going to let it attack and then go for its throat. Yeah, they have 2 powerful tech lands in play. Bristly Bill, this landfall, put a +1 counter on your creatures. Yeah, I need a frigate spell here, deck. Hook it up. 3 steps ahead is a frigate spell. I'm going to play my Sunken Citadel and name Blue. And I can't afford to attack this turn. I'd really like to 3 steps ahead to counter a spell and do the loot. But I think there's a good chance they just animate some creatures or leave up Mirex this turn. Please cast a spell. Oh yeah, we got a good one. Okay, now we're in Cryptic Command mode. Counter target spell, draw 2, discard a card. And I'm going to discard this Dark Slick Shores. And even though that ended up being kind of anemic, I found the next 3 steps ahead, which counters their next spell. and finds 2 more cards. Starting to get something going here. 20 cards into the deck without a Memory Deluge, though. I would really like one of those. The whole deck's built around it. All right, we did it. Okay. Now I have to decide if Takenuma is going to be Takenuma or if it's going to be Swamp. I think it's better as a Swamp. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I can play Takenuma. And with this, I can Memory Deluge and kick 3 steps ahead, or Spree 3 steps ahead, all in the same turn. I have to be careful when I Deluge because this Restless Cottage has passive Graveyard Hate attached to it. Draw a card, lose life. You can do that, I think. Mishra's Foundry puts a +1 counter on Bristly Bill. Restless Reef is also just a 4/4 Death Touch. If you need to animate these to just block, that is completely reasonable to do. Also with Dread Knight, resolves. Yeah, and they can't attack because of the Restless Reefs. That's what I was just talking about. All right, time for Memory Deluge to kick in. This is the core of basically all the standard control decks and the combo decks, the Analyst ramp deck. Deadly Cover-Up and Duress. I'll take those. I'd like to see what they're cooking with over there. Duress you. It might just be nothing, but if they've been sandbagging any sort of cool spell, they've had basically the whole game to do it. Cut down and go for the throat. All right. Cut down doesn't affect any card in my deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could Flashback Deluge. Yeah, I think I want to take a turn off to Flashback Deluge. I could take a hit here, but they'd have to fire up Restless Cottage before they even affect my graveyard. Here comes the Cottage. Create a food, token, and exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. I don't think the food fizzles. All right, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I would go to 5 here. That's a big hit. The options are basically nothing. All right. Yeah, I'm just going to let them go to combat. The options are survive this combat and then Wrath. So if they hold back because of my blocker, that actually gives me a lot of breathing room. Like if this Bristly Bill doesn't get in, wow, that's sick. I think they're playing a little scared over there. Okay, they targeted Memory Deluge. Cut down actually does kill this Dread Knight right now, if I want to do that. 3 steps plus Jace. What does that do? I didn't find another Field of Ruin. There are 4 of those in the list. Jace is eventually my win condition. I think I want Jace and Sheoldred's Edict. This Edict can kill the creature land when it reactivates. Okay, I'm going this way. They can't activate Mirrex this turn. That costs 3. Underground River, basically always happy to see more land drops. I'm going to Deadly Cover-Up and just deciding what to exile. I can exile this thing so it can't go on an adventure next turn. I think that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd like to collect evidence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And exile the Mosswood Dread Knight so it can't come back. And I'm going to screenshot this deck because I don't know that much about Standard and I'm learning right now. Did I just miss one? Did I misclick? Yep, there is a Mosswood Dread Knight still in their deck. That's annoying, but okay. Their hand is cut down another Bristly Bill. I do have to watch my clock because these games get super grindy and I'm not normally doing the whole narrating for content thing when I'm in these Standard leagues. Liliana of the Veil. That was a pretty cool draw. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. They can activate Restless Cottage, put me to 5 here. I think I still 3 steps this thing. Oh, if I don't loot. Yeah, my hand's already good. I'm just not going to loot. I'm going to counter this and leave up Sheoldred's Edict. Mishra's Foundry can activate for 2 and protect the Bristly Bill from Edict. I'm still just going to send the Edict. Okay, this is interesting because I actually would prefer that Mishra's Foundry dies to the Bristly Bill. So I'm going to give them the choice, which might be bad, but generally if you can give your opponent a choice, you just don't. But I kind of want them to misevaluate this. Okay, cool. Bristly Bill lives on. Okay, and here we are. We're at the phase of the game that I described. They have 34 cards in their deck. I can mill them for 30 right now, and a Restless Reef hit is huge. They have 4, 5, 6. If they make a land 7, pump in 8. Yeah, it would be difficult for me to lose here. I'm going to Memory Deluge, see if I can find some removal. Deadly Cover-Up works. Deduce and Deadly Cover-Up to my hand. So they have one card in hand and it's bad. I think I want to attack with Restless Reef this turn. The Sunken Citadel kicking in here, giving me 2 mana for land abilities. If they can somehow put multiple lands into play and activate Bristly Bill and activate Restless Cottage, I could die here, but they have 30 cards in their deck now, which is the metric I care about. They played Boseiju, Bill's a 3/3, costs 5 to double your +1 counters. This is 7 damage, and they have Cut Down in hand. This game is over. They can exile my Memory Deluge. I made that look nice and tasty for them. And step Deduce for good measure. Okay, let's hope they don't have some trick that makes it so they don't die from decking. Turn the Earth is legal in the format. Jace, 15 Volue. Caustic Bronco, Topiary Stomper. Oh, I've seen their deck list. I should know if this is going to work or not. Yet I persist. Jace number 2. There we go. Isn't it cool how quick that happens? Okay, Aclazotz looks really good in this matchup. Flying Lifelink, very difficult to kill. Generates card advantage on its own. Path of Peril didn't kill any card in their deck. Negate doesn't seem that important. Outrageous Robbery steals their stuff. Tashana's Tidebinder, very good against most of the fair decks in the format. Seed Shark Essence Scatter. So, like I mentioned, I've been playing Edgar's deck, and Arne Hauschenbach posted a list this morning. That's the list I'm playing, so I have to kind of relearn my map here, because Edgar didn't have Seed Sharks or Essence Scatter, which look great right here. This Cut Down, it kills the Dread Knight and it kills Bristly Bill if nothing's happened yet, but it didn't seem to have a lot of targets. Edgar's list also has 1 copy of the Celestis, which Arne's list doesn't, which means that's how you can cleave Path of Peril. So in this list, unless you just happen to line it up with the Mirrex exactly on the turn you want to cleave this, then you're just out of luck. Okay, where can I'm pretty sure I want Essence Scatter, or I definitely want Essence Scatter. Pretty sure on Seed Sharks. Can I find one more spot for a Seed Shark here? I could see Unlicensed Source being useful in this matchup. I just don't think I'm going to find room for it. Okay, I'm going to stop here and just use these cards. I'll leave 1 Seed Shark in the sideboard. That's way more important versus aggro than it is against midrange, but I still think I like having the 1 in here that I can make room for. But I'm not going to start cutting actual good cards for it. Okay, and this hand looks kind of mopey, but this is the pace of Standard. I'm going to keep this. Essence Scatter is cool. Having a Field of Ruin available is cool. We saw at least 3 different tech lands in their deck, plus that turtle that can loop lands. I also love that you can just F6 in this format when you don't have mana up. There's nothing free. Move Duress. See you later, Essence Scatter. Opponent mulled to 6 and then Duress me, though, so there's 4 cards left over there. Yep, Essence Scatter was the choice, and they know about the Wrath now. If they want to plan around that. Second Wrath, not really what I'm looking for. I basically want Phantom Interference, Deduce, and Memory Deluge. Those are the cards I'm most excited to draw in this spot. Caustic Bronco. I guess I did see those in the list before cutting my cut downs. Never punished. I'm going to take this thing's throat. It's very long, snaky, venomous throat. Duress me again. You can have a Devious Cover-Up. Deadly Cover-Up. Devious Cover-Up's a different card. Also legal in the format, though. Weird stuff. Okay, Cavern of Souls. I am not going to Field of Ruin the Cavern of Souls, especially when I don't have a counterspell in my hand. I'm going to save this Field of Ruin for a tech land, and I don't even want to play it out because I keep saying they might have Field of Ruins of their own, but I literally have their list in front of me. They have Boseiju. One of them's in play, and I only see 1 in the list. At the RC, it's open deck list, so hopefully I won't have these problems of just having to wonder all the time what's going on over there. All right, they got another snake. I am on Deadly Cover-Up mana at this point, and I can collect evidence. I think I'm just going to do that rather than Childred's Edict, because Edict, we've seen big haste creatures and stuff in their deck. I'm going to take the rest of their Caustic Broncos. Nissa, Liliana, Sorin the Mirthless. Yikes. That's a powerful hand. I'm glad I held on to Childred's Edict versus these triple planeswalkers, but the Cavern of Souls means that they can't cast any of them right now. They do need an untapped black source to cast any of this right now. All right, they found the Knight and continue to miss land drops. Glad I didn't Field of Ruin that Cavern of Souls, or it would have actually fixed them into their Liliana. I do need to find some counter spells, like, sooner than later, though. Okay, still can't cast any of these Bladeswalkers. Topiary Stomper. This does tutor for a swamp. Okay, I'm in trouble starting next turn if I don't make something happen here. Jace, okay. Liliana, Sorin, and Nissa, none of them affect Jace. They need 7 lands in play before this does anything. 1, 2, 3, 4. Jace. And I could just do a small activation, mill for 3, draw a card. Or I could plus and start going for big mills. I think I need the cards. Mill you for 3 and I draw a card. Restless Reef as my land for turn. That's cool when Planeswalkers can just draw cards. They could shove Nissa, get 1 creature out of her before the Sheoldred's Edict kills her. Topiary Stomper. Oh, actually, if they... Nope, they couldn't draw this and a land. Interesting they prioritize this creature over getting a Planeswalker down. Are they just that scared of negate? Okay, just investing in the board. This is a big turn where I could get a Wrath together. I might need this Takenuma to get Jace back. I'm going to mill them for 3 and draw a card again. 3 steps ahead, let's go. Okay, that's now a counterspell. That's exciting. I'll play my Swamp, keep all of my spells and tech lands in my hand. Deathcap Glade. Okay, the Topiary Stompers are online. This is from 3 damage on board straight to 11. Let's see how much they respect Jace. Are they going to attack him with 2 creatures? 0? All? All of them? Wait. Yes? Yeah, all of them are attacking Jace. Alright, that makes this easy. Jace is dead. You got me. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. They could cast 2 Planeswalkers this turn. Sorin the Mirthless. Oh wait, no, they still only have 3 black, not 4. Okay. I'm going to 3 steps ahead while I can. Counter target spell and do the loot. Tishana's Tidebinder, discard Darkslick Shores. Tidebinder is really good against this handful of Planeswalkers. Go for the Throat, okay. I'm going to play out Otawara as a land. Go for the Throat can kill Topiary Stomper. Sheoldred's Edict can kill whichever Planeswalker doesn't get Tidebindered. Or I'd have to Edict first, wouldn't I? Okay. They're casting a Mount. This must be Gitrog if we're tapping this much mana for it. Alright, yeah, that can't be countered. Cool. I'd love it if they saddled this. That's just less damage that I have to worry about this turn. Okay, cool. Go for this thing's Throat. You're out of here. Planeswalker's still in the hand. This is an attack for 8. I could trade off with one of them if I want to spend Restless Reef to do that. I kind of think I do want to do that. Block one of them. Yeah, just taking the pressure off while I navigate their cards, I think is the best decision here. Sheoldred's Edict would just kill this Dread Knight, which would just come right back. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They're 1 mana away from double spelling Planeswalkers next turn. I think I'm going to hold back my basic island just in case the Liliana resolves, because if I can ignore a Liliana plus, then Sheoldred's Edict lines up better against everything they're doing. On a Mishra's Foundry, excuse me. Okay, Dread Knight is attacking. Does this have Death Touch? It has Trample. Okay, animate this. I'm going to block the Dread Knight, which does put it back into adventure mode, but it leaves my land in play to either Tidebinder, or I could channel Takenuma now, which I couldn't do. Like, they might just play Liliana and minus here. Liliana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can also Nissa this turn. Target player sacrifices a creature. We knew this was a possibility. I'm just worried about Nissa. Nissa is plus make an XX, where X is the loyalty. It would come in on 3, plus it would make a 4/4. Okay, I think I just float black and then sacrifice my creature here. They're casting the Whispers. Now they can't Nissa. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'm going to Takenuma Jace back here. Uh-oh, milled my other Jace in the process. This is the last Jace I'm going to get this game. That makes this a lot worse. Unlucky. And I milled my 3rd Deadly Cover-Up. Those are all the cards I needed. Okay, Sheoldred's Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. I kind of have to do this, even though this Dread Knight is really phenomenal against what I'm up to. And Jace can plus on the Topiary Stomper, and I take 1. I think I'm actually going to Phyrexian this thing out, so I can still Tidebind. Plus on the Topiary Stomper, it's a 1/4. I could discard the island to Liliana. I'm really worried about my clock right now, but I am learning about a new matchup. When I'm testing for a real event like a Pro Tour qualifier or regional championship, I am not worried about timing out as much as I am about playing correctly and learning how these things work. If they play and activate Nissa pre-combat, the Topiary Stomper doesn't even get to attack for one because I can just block with Tidebinder. Each player discards a card. I'll discard this island. Planned around that 2 turns ago. Dread Whispers. Oh, they drew a Gitrog. Okay, I mean, I'm not winning this game. I'm going to save us some time. All right, yeah. I mean, that was another game where I saw half my deck without a Memory Deluge, and like I said, we're really soft to just 1-for-1s. We do actually recoup sometimes. All right, I think I'm going to cut down back in and Seed Shark out. I don't want to have to use premium removal on Bronco. And seeing that many Planeswalkers in the deck makes Negate tempting, but I have the Tidebinders and the 3 steps aheads. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to make that one switch for cut down. And time to play fast, make decisions quickly, keep. Play my Dark Select Shores, pass the turn. They've got a tap land to start the game, love that. Another Shores, just how he drew it up. There's 3 of those in the deck. Make them as your first 3 land drops and you're set. Cavern of Souls, oh no, my counter spells. Alright, Snake Horse, go for the throat. I could Phyrexian out the Jace here, but I think I would rather leave up Tidebinder. Dread Whispers. Alright, yep, now I wish I had just played out the Jace, but, you know, if they had just stuck Liliana that turn instead of what they did do, would have felt dumb about it. Yeah, the balance here is just having Jason play versus worrying about when they might draw a Duress. They've got another Bronco and a Dread Knight. I think in this end step, I want to destroy Mirrex. I'm more worried about that than Restless Cottage. Yeah, this game would have been awesome if I just played Jace on turn 3. Lesson learned. I have to just Wrath with no evidence. Okay, tapped out. Scary time. Deck full of Planeswalkers over there. Okay, they went with the Dread Knight, draw a card, and Topiary Stomper. Sheoldred's Edict. Nice. Okay. Restless Reef has to come into play, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This thing is almost on. I'm going to get this Jace into play. Feels kind of late. Like, this could have been in play for 3 turns, and the way the game happened to play out, it would have been phenomenal. That's one of the things that I'm really good at in Legacy and Vintage, but I'm still learning in Standard, which is what our deck's capable of. Because if I knew that it was just totally safe to just shove Jace on turn 3, like if I knew this list had 1 Liliana of the Veil and they weren't very good at casting it, all that information is useful to me. Okay, they're attacking with Stomper. I'm going to Edict this. This taps me out, but this is the only thing I was going to do anyway. Now that we're in combat, if they want to activate Restless Cottage and sacrifice it to deal 1 to Jace, that's fine. If they use this opportunity to stick a giant Nissa, that sucks. But Negate's not in my deck anyway. Okay, here's the turtle. This gets back Mirrex. Unfortunate. Spent a lot of effort killing that earlier. And they did have Liliana the whole time. Son of a biscuit. I will discard Tidebinder. That felt like a very important turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I'm just going to stop to think about this for a second. I know my clock's low, but I have to actually win this game. I could plus Jason, who would survive a Restless Cottage attack. I think I want to deduce here and save the Wrath, or try to double spell. Clue token, activate Restless Reef, freeze the turtle. Okay. Like, Jace has to be the way that I win this game, and just like milling them for 12 doesn't really do anything there. Drawing a card, letting Jace die doesn't really do anything there. This Liliana is the card I was scared of, and they do have it. Hostile Investigator, this is rough. Okay, well, I'm going to have to go for the throw at that before they make multiple clues this turn. With this ETB, opponent discards a card. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you investigate. So that eats my cover up, and then Restless Cottage can attack here, basically. Free and easy. Oh, this is a 5/5? Oh, land creatures you control get +1/+1. Alright, yeah, Jace was just dead anyway. I'm learning. I've never seen this card in play before. Why would it have that line on it too? Crazy. Okay. Probably just wasted my Jace then. Okay, let's see what happens. Deduce. Never punished. I mean, this is still bad, but I guess I want to take all these turtles out of their deck. Looks as good as anything else. They still have a Dread Knight out on an adventure. Still have a creature land smushing down. 2 creature lands. Well, 1 creature land, 1 creature engine. Liliana can ultimate next turn. Okay, they're going for attacks rather than blocks, which means Restless Reef can attack Liliana. They're eating a food in my upkeep. Do I want to investigate? I think I do. Right, I'm going to attack Liliana. They're probably just going to block. Or they might let it through. I don't know. They might not care about this. All right, they do care about this, and this is a draw engine. This Mossword Dread Knight really tore me apart this game. Good to know. Like I said, first time I've ever seen this. I've been playing against a lot of Analyst combo, a lot of control mirrors in the leagues. The old Golgari Magic Cards deck. Get Rug. That is not quite lethal, but it's bad. They could activate a Cottage Crew, Get Rug, and draw 4. I wonder if they value draw 4 over just putting me to 4 life. I would put me to 4 personally. So where this game went off was when I didn't turn 3 the Jace. If I was worried about Liliana, I was holding Tidebinder and still had a handful of cards at that time. Maybe that just didn't make sense at all, and I could have had Jace on just like 8 or 9 loyalty by the time they started putting creatures into play here. Yeah, I think that's where I messed up. Like I was saying, understanding what the decks are capable of and not playing scared of cards that either aren't that likely or aren't that bad is important to understand. All right, I've lost. GG's. A lot of learning occurred there, which is the point of these practice leagues. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the play in round 2 with another 1-lander out of my 27-land deck. Mulligan. Okay, I will keep this one. Memory Deluge already locked up is good. I will put Jace on the bottom, which is a bit of a gamble because Path of Peril is the most volatile card in the list. Like, there's matchups where it is absolutely game-endingly essential, and matchups where it is a stone brick. And if this is a control mirror, I will rather have Jace in my hand. However, if they do something like cast Teething Wormlet, a card I've never seen in life, I might want Path of Peril. Death Touch, if you have 3 more artifacts. When an artifact enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. If it's the first time resolved, put a +1 counter on Wormlet. Okay. I can long goodbye this if it gets out of hand, but I expect Path of Peril is probably going to get 2 or 3 creatures next turn, if I can be patient. Yeah, I don't even know what this deck is. The leagues have been pretty steady lately of giving me purely just tier 1 competitive, well-represented decks. And Golgari is a deck that's, I think, on the rise, if the metagame, if I'm understanding it correctly. Sick. All right, yeah, I'll just kill 3 creatures with Path of Peril. And this is why I went with Path of Peril over Jace, because even though Path of Peril is worse in more matchups, if it happened to be an attacking matchup, it's literally the best card. And I'm worse against attacking decks than I am against control decks. Okay, got a 3-for-1 on turn 3. We've got a Mirrex. Ooh, Sentinel of the Nameless City. That card's really cool. Vintage Cube staple. I'm going to destroy Mirrex and long goodbye this thing. Do I need to destroy Mirrex yet? I could long goodbye and deduce. Yeah, I'm going to long goodbye and deduce. I'd rather draw a card than answer Mirrex now. My Tidebinder is really good against Mirrex. But if I can hit my land drops and just get into Memory Deluge, this is what we're looking for. Restless Vinestock, 5 mana becomes a 5/5 with Trample, still a land. Whenever it attacks, up to 1 other target creature gets base power toughness 3/3. Surge Engine. Oh, there's so many words on this. 3/2 Defender. For blue, it loses Defender and can't be blocked. For blue 2, it becomes a 5/4. You can only use this. Oh, this is a Figure of Destiny. Okay. All right. So, all right. Sure. All right. Another card I've never seen in life. I thought I was getting in touch with this Warbad, but apparently no. No, just full of cards never seen in life. Restless Reef versus Sunken Citadel is interesting because I do already have 2 lands where Sunken Citadel advances me. Yeah, all right. I will invest in the Citadel. Tidebinder's really good versus the Surge Engine, though. But they could just Surge in response to the thing, but then it would lose all abilities again. But it would still lose Defender. Wait, Defender is an ability. I would just give them a 4/3. Yeah, counter this doesn't even do anything. All right, I'm casting Memory Deluge this turn. If they activate it again, I think I'll stifle the second ability. Agatha Soul Cauldron, yikes. All right, that's a good one to stifle. Okay, Tidebinder this for sure. This one main deck Tidebinder is so sick. Okay, Agatha Soul Cauldron doesn't have words on it now. Hard-hitting question, last card in hand. Target creature control deals David Jewel power target creature by target control. Okay, well, that's dead. All right, so they have Surge Engine attacking me, which is a pretty big creature, and Mirrex in the background. I need to find a removal spell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're a long way away from this Vine Stalk. Do I care about Mirrex? Okay, I'm going to start with Deduce. Negate. Little late for that one. Okay, I'm going to kill Mirrex. And then I can still crack a clue this turn. I'm doing this right now while they can't make a dummy. Okay, yeah, it's just going to be, can I remove this thing before it kills me? This is a very cool deck. I've never seen anything like this. This is why Standard is dope. We're also like right before rotation of a 3-year Standard, so this is about as big as this can ever be. This is a 7/6 with all the text of Gingerbrute. Okay, so I need to draw a removal spell for it now. I play a lot of them, and I get to see a lot of cards here. How about we just hook it up? Not even close. Wait, Go for the Throat's non-artifact creature, isn't it? So I actually need Long Goodbye or Shoulder's Edict here. Yikes. Okay. Memory Deluge. They can make this unblockable, so Restless Reef is not an answer. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 looks at one of my removal spells, and no chance at all. Yeah, tough beat. Yep, okay. Yeah, soloed by that thing. Fascinating. Okay, we saw some creatures that aren't artifacts, but I'm a little worried about Go for the Throat. Path of Peril looks phenomenal. There's another one in the sideboard. Tidebinder looks phenomenal. This looks like exactly the kind of matchup for Seed Shark. Negate looks clunky and conditional. Duress seems clunky and conditional. I like all the sweepers. I'm going to cut some of the Go for the Throats. This is just, we saw the Worm, and we saw the creature land. And then we saw a bunch of artifact creatures. Oh, we saw the giant 3/4 map dingus too. All right, I can't cut 2 of these. Cut down is good early. Yeah, I like cut down. Okay, once again, my sideboard mapped out nicely, except for these 2 Seed Sharks. I have to decide if I want access to those. I don't think I want Aclazotz or Shieldred. Do I want Essence Scatter? The Seed Shark just looks really good, but this maps out in a way that works. I have been experimenting with boarding out a tech land. In Edgar's list, it's the 5th Field of Destruction. In this land, it's Mirrex. Like, I'm never going to activate Mirrex versus this deck, that's for sure. That gets to be a Seed Shark. Do I want Essence Scatter, or do I just want to play to the board? I think I just want to play to the board. Okay, I'll try this. Okay. Handful of interaction and lands to cast it. Also, I want to point out and remind people that I record stuff like a week and a half in advance. So me seeing all these standard cards for the first time in life is not quite as devastating as it seems, given that the RC is tomorrow by the time you're watching this. I do have more time to study up. They've got the Wormlet again. Field of Ruin, not unhappy to see that. Memory Deluge is in the hand. Gingerbrute, I'm going to Edict now. The Worm is just bigger than the Brute. Okay, yep, getting Spell Pierced, huge punish. Could have just Edicted on my turn. 3 steps ahead is a counterspell. I can Tidebinder a Wormlet trigger, and then it's a 2/2 with no abilities, and then Tidebinder can trade with it or block Gingerbrute. Life total is a resource here. They're down to 3 cards in hand. The Schooner. Whenever this attacks, target creature that crewed it explores. Okay. It does not have haste. I'm going to Tidebind the Wormlet. They could have that bite spell that we saw game 1. Just making Gingerbread unblockable. And not attacking with Wormlet, I would have traded off for sure. Restless Reef. So I can play my tap land now, guarantee deadly cover up the turn after, or I could Deluge now. I think I would rather Restless Reef now and guarantee the Wrath, because getting this land 5 into play also gives me the bonus ability on 3 steps. Oh, this is sick. They can make a... Okay, they're just firing up the Schooner. I was going to say they can make a Might crew Schooner with it and attack with everything. Gingerbrute Explorers revealed Restless Vinestalk. I'm just going to block, and I'm going to destroy Mirrex before Teething Wormlet gets its abilities back. My plan is to Wrath anyway, so I don't mind just jumping here, saving some damage. They didn't make a 1/1 in response with Mirrex. Hopefully they play out more actual creatures, and they don't hold up Spell Pierce. 1 unknown card in hand right now. Wormlet is now Death Touchy. All right, big moment here. Splat, question mark? Something's happening. Oh, are they going to March of Swirling Mist? Oh, Repulsive Mutation. Put X+1 counter on target creature, then counter up to 1 target spell unless its controller-based mana equal to the greatest power. I've never seen this card in life. Okay, well, can't counter that. 4, 5, 6. I'm taking at least 6 next turn. I have the backup Wrath in my hand. I'm taking more than that. 3, 4, 8. Taking at least 8 this turn. They have 1 card in hand, and it's the card they just drew. Schooner's Awake. Tapping onto the Siren. Teething Wormlet. I can't imagine they'd want this late in the game. They do. It's on top of the deck. All right. Legal. Wormlet again. Please just cast a creature. Put a creature into play. All right. Moment of truth. Did you draw another counterspell off the top in the 1 turn since I've looked at your hand? No. All right. I'm going to exile the Spell Pierces from their deck. This is not a card I want to play against. Screenshot the deck. Study up. Zoetic Glyph. This is pseudo haste. Like they could just make a map into a 5/4 creature and bash right away. Bunch of these Surge Engines. Tough Cookie. Enters the battlefield, make a food. Target non-creature artifact controls a 4/4 till end turn. Okay, so any like map sitting around or uncrewed thing represents potential damage. Their hand is Restless Vinestalk, and I guess keeping the Wormlet makes sense because it keeps the Schooner schooning. If they draw a land right now, they can activate Vinestalk. Any creature crews Schooner. Yeah, this is actually super dangerous. These 5/5s are going to win very soon. Oh god, that was a good card. Yeah, I was just on the back foot this whole match. This looks really bad from here. I don't know how I'm going to win this. I guess if I just play around Spell Pierce earlier, and that's a Spell Pierce they end up still having later. Like they would have been able to Spell Pierce the second Wrath after countering the first one. But also, that Wormlet only dealt 2 damage to me. That wasn't a big deal. I don't know, does being at 5 here change anything? I think I just have to Deluge and then concede. Sunken Citadel, 3 steps. Yeah, okay. That was a very cool deck. I've never seen that before. I'm going to have to study up and see if this is a big part of the metagame. This seems really hard to beat, actually, with this deck. On to the next round. The education continues. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Receivables has it at youtube.com/thereceivables. On the play for round 3, my hand has 2 lands in it. I'm good. Feed on Shipwreck Marsh so I could play Deduce on turn 2. Blooming Marsh, more Golgari. Cool. I need practice with this one. No plays on turn 2. End step, Deduce, draws Deduce. That's the combo, just going off here. Now Counterspell is up, or I could just draw more cards. Countersouls, Counterspell's not up anymore. Cavernon Mount. What a cool thing. I just love that that's a thing. They plotted Outcast Trailblazer. When this enters the battlefield, add a mana of any color. When another creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Okay. They're setting up a big thing for next turn. Deduce. Alright, I've seen a lot of cards that still miss my land drop. I think I have to hold up this counterspell for this Trailblazer so I don't just get rogged into the garbage. I'm going to 3 steps this thing, because that gives them a mana, and then they play the land. Get Rog's a 5, it's uncounterable. They draw a card off that Get Rog. Smuggler's Surprise. Okay, this is mill 4, put 2 creatures and or lands from the mill cards into your hand. There is a Topiary Stomper and a Blooming Marsh. Those are the only choices. Blooming Marsh is in play. Found a land. Sweet, merciful relief. I could go for the throw to Get Rog and still crack a clue. There it is. Get your throat out of here. Clue. Cut down. I mostly just want lands here. Okay, I like the counterspell more than I like digging for a land. Though if I hit an untapped land, I have counterspell also. Alright, let's just play that whole turn over again. Get Rog's dead again. 6 cards in their hand. Drew Sunken Citadel. I'll take it. Lands are lands. Just give them to me. And I'm finally in a spot where casting Memory Deluge seems reasonable. Topiary Stomper. We knew about that one. Ooh, red. We're Jund. Suddenly Jund. Memory Deluge. I'm extremely interested in probably just 2 lands off of this. I have spells. Alright, yeah, I'm just taking 2 lands here. Long Goodbye could kill Stomper, and that leaves up Counterspell. I would have had to go to discard if I didn't cast a spell there, so I did want to just get a card out of my hand, and I do like having access to the 3 steps. Another Stomper. This one can attack next turn. This will be land number 7. I kind of want to take out the Cavern of Souls, but I also don't. Like, Get Rog Monster is the thing that could come out of that I care about. Yeah, I'm just going to go on my turn. Swamp. How many hits from Topiary Stomper am I willing to take before I Wrath? I can Memory Deluge this turn. Yeah, I think I'll just hold back. Uh-oh. They do have a Get Rog, number 3. Oh no, it's so much worse. When this attacks while saddled, choose a non-legendary creature that's saddled this turn. Create a tapped and attacking token copy of it. Sack. Jesus Christ. Alright, well, that sucks. Yikes. Yeah, so this is ramp also. If I had to go for the throat here, I'd have a huge blowout, but I don't have one of those. So, yeah, they're just going to get to hit me for 8 and ramp again. I should probably deal with that Cavern of Souls. Wait, they get 2? Create a tapped and attack. Oh, repeat this process once after all of it. Okay, no, this is way worse than I thought. Holy shit. Yeah, I think this is different than the other deck we played against earlier. That deck was kind of a mid-range whatever. And this appears to be like an actual big top-end combo-y thing. Okay, end of turn, I'm going to Memory Deluge. I would like... What am I going to do next turn? I have to Wrath, and I'd like to hold up Counterspell when I do. So I probably want Memory Deluge and Swamp. That was crazy. Okay. Deadly Cover-Up. I'm going to exile this Calamity. I don't know how many of those they're going to have, but it's the scariest card. Okay, the Full Boat. This is a very different deck than we played against earlier, and that was where my mistake got me. Their hand has multiple Vault-Born Tyrants in it. Whenever this or another creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 3 life and draw a card. When this dies, if it's not a token, create a copy of it, except it's an artifact. Cool. Go for the Throat Shieldred. None of those are mounts, and I think I can safely clean up this Dress Down, or not Dress Down, Cut Down. Or is Negate worse than Cut Down? I was literally just looking at their deck. I was so distracted by the Calamities. All right, I gotta tighten up. I promise I do better when I'm not streaming. Like, I have been taking this pretty seriously and playing pretty tight. But, you know, I'm here to entertain you. I'm just a big dancing clown on your TV screen or mobile device. Well, I cannot reasonably beat this thing. I'm going to counter it. If they drew an untapped land here, they could still play Sheoldred, but I can cover her. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so they play Sheoldred. I go to 6 on my draw step, and then I cover up exiling the Vaultborn Tyrants, which takes one from their hand as well. Deadly cover up. Is this a turn where I would like to Field of Ruin? I don't have any counter spells in my hand currently. The Negate, but that doesn't affect anything that could come out of Cavern of Souls. I'd still have 7 mana left after doing this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Wrath. I do still have a land. If I want to Deluge this turn, I could play Takenuma. Yeah, I think I want to play Takenuma and then plan to Deluge this turn, which means I don't get to Field of Ruin. Okay, Wrath you, take out the Vaultborn Tyrants, which includes the one in your hand. All right, let's actually look at this deck. Harvester of Misery, creature, Hostile Investigator, creature, Trailblazer. The only thing to negate is Smuggler's Surprise in their whole deck, and removal spells. Okay, the Vaultborn Tyrants are gone. They have 2 removal spells in their hand, and whatever I just flip them into. A Stomper, okay. That doesn't have haste. Failed to find a land. Now it's time to take over. Deluge with another Wrath ready. Duress and go for the throat. Go for the throat and Memory Deluge. Yeah, they're done. Okay. That was dicey for a minute. I still thought they were a different deck from earlier. They hid their Calamity combo mid-game from me pretty well. A Essence Scatter, Tidebinder, Aclazotz. Path of Peril didn't seem to have any hits. Negate didn't have many hits. Duress didn't have many hits. The cut down, they didn't seem to have much to cut down either. Creatures look pretty big. Could bring in my own Sheoldred here. Do I want Outrageous Robbery or do I want to leave in a Negate? Those are kind of the options here. I'm not reaching for Seed Shark. I think it's too small and slow and messes up my map too much. I'll try this. We did see the Smuggler's Surprise, and they could pivot onto Planeswalkers after board. I will keep this. The third land's going to be really important to unlock. I don't love having Aclazotz in my hand this early, but I'm not going to mulligan a hand with 2 lands and a spell in it. Now it's 2 removal spells. Okay, I'm going to play Restless Reef now. I don't think their haste creatures unlock until turn 5 or 6, or mana 5 or 6. All right, that Trailblazer thing is in exile now. Darkslick Shores, perfect third land, just how we drew it up. Okay, so I can respond to the creature they cast by either countering it or killing the Trailblazer so it can't crew or draw a card. I think I want to save my counterspell knowing that they're this big top-end stupid deck now. Red in the pool, surprise Cavern of Souls, sucker. Got me good. Okay, it's a Gitrog. I'm going to long goodbye the Trailblazer in response so they can't do the saddle thing, and then Gitrog gets to bash me for 6, and then I can Edict it. Another long goodbye. Okay, so multiple removal spells now. Do I think they're going to have a flash creature or any way to trick me off of an Edict? I don't think so. Let's just see. Topiary Stomper. Okay, this is fine because I can just long goodbye that and then Edict. I guess I could have long goodbyed in response to the thing's trigger because Saddle is as a sorcery. It doesn't matter in this case, but that is relevant for other board states where it might matter more. All right, land for Aclazotz. Let's go. Shit. I'm going to hold up 3 steps and Memory Deluge if I miss. There are boards, like if I didn't have a counterspell already, I would have just main phase Deluge, tap out, take my medicine, try to hit my land drop. The Gitrog. Tough. Cavern of Souls good against counterspells. Lessons learned. Would have loved to have an Aclazotz in play instead of doing nothing for a turn cycle. Okay, Sheoldred's Edict, great find. Restless Reef versus Shipwreck Marsh. I can hold up Counterspell if I take them Marsh. Not that Counterspell has done much so far this game. They've got a lot of haste over there. Okay, in combat, sacrifice a non-token creature. Are you out of gas? Can we take a breath? Oh my goodness. It just passed without a play at all. 4 cards in hand. What could they be? We've seen haste creatures in their deck. The Calamity is really big. I think I just want Aclazotz in play, though. This thing's really hard to kill in this format. And it has lifelink. And I could curve it out in a way that next turn I can flashback Deluge. Duress, okay. Probably taking 3 steps. Yep. And just passed. Love it. Tidebinder, insane draw. Aclazotz, do your thing, big guy. When it attacks, each opponent discards a card. If they discard a land, I get a bat. If they discard nothing, I draw a card. Discarded Terror of the Peaks. Love to see that one go. That's really big. Okay. Looks like their engine fumbled. They must be holding double red spells or 6 drops and just out of gas over there, and now Aclazotz is doing his thing. That was dicey. Another kind of off the beaten path rogue deck that I had to figure out on the fly. But this time, successfully. We're getting better. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. On the draw, in round number 4, bunch of kill spells on my way up to Memory Deluge, let's do it. Opponent's on the mull to 6. Broker's Hideout, okay. We're going to get an Analyst combo deck on the video. I have found this matchup a lot of fun. Super grindy and weird, but also a lot of fun. If you don't play Standard, basically what this deck does is uses these wonky fetch lands that they have, plus the card Aftermath Analyst, to fill their graveyard with lands. And then Aftermath Analyst brings all those lands back, and then the fetch lands trigger again. And then their life total is going to be like in the 30s or 40s, and they're going to have every land in their deck in play. And then Virtue of Strength is a card that it rebuys a card from your graveyard. Okay, and then World Source Raid is one of their top end cards. This is a Fireball that also lets you put X lands from your hand or graveyard into play tapped. They're just doing a mini one here to ramp, which is good because if one of these is in the graveyard, this is one of the good things that you could just extract off of a Wrath that kills no creatures, and it makes it a lot harder for them to win. That and Virtue tend to be my game 1 targets for that. I do kind of wish my hand had a counterspell in it, now that I know what the matchup is, because removal's not very good. They're also a Memory Deluge deck. Spelunking, yep, excellent card. That means that when these fetch lands come back from the graveyard, the land they tutors come in to play untapped. Path of Peril, Stone Brick. Alright, we're drawing all the black removal, which is how these game 1s can go poorly. But I do get to Deluge this turn, if it's not too late. They can play and activate Analyst this turn, yep, there it is. If I didn't have Deluge, I would kill Analyst in response to its trigger. It's ETB mill 3, and then for 4, you get all the lands back from your graveyard. Alright, Deluge, come on. They milled over their Shigeki, though, which is really important, because Shigeki is an uncounterable way to get cards back from their graveyard. And that's a way they could beat a handful of counterspells in the endgame. Yeah, they pop their Analyst in response. They get 3 lands here. Pretty modest, but it is turn 5, and look how many lands they have in play. 3 cards left in their hand. I would love to find a counterspell. Memory Deluge, a Go for the Throat. Oh no, these are bad. I have enough lands that I guess I'll take a Go for the Throat over another Swamp, but it's not good or useful in this matchup. 8 cards in hand, I'm just going to discard Path of Peril. Yeah, if they just go for it, they're probably going to win here. If they have a Virtue of Strength to get back Shigeki, that's a loop that's going to be really hard to break without drawing my main deck Tidebinder. Ill-Timed Explosion is a divination that then you can discard a card to have like a pseudo-wrath effect. They don't have to discard a card though. It can just be a 4-mana divination, which I am fine with. Buys me time to Deluge. Tidebinder's insane, Duress is insane, let's go. Alright, finally some good cards. And they're going to Deluge right now while they know I can't counter it. That's fine. I am also trying to make decisions quickly because this can get super grindy and frequently comes down to the bottom cards of your decks. 2 World Souls Rage in hand. Nissa is in hand. Nissa is part of the combo. Timed Explosion. I think I want to leave the Rages in hand, even though I'm kind of terrified of them. But if I take one, then they know I'm terrified of them. And what I want to do is Deluge into a Deadly Cover-Up and strip all of those from their hand and deck. Nissa resolves. I'm going to respond to this trigger with Long Goodbye and hope that they don't try to shove into a counterspell here. Like, I hope they just spend effort Memory Deluging this turn instead of Raging. Deluge, okay. That's the one from hand. I could have Tidebinder the Nissa instead of killing her, but Tidebinder can hit Aftermath Analyst also, which is better and lines up better. And if I had done that, it would have tapped me out of representing 3 steps ahead. Come on, 3 steps. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I could Deluge into a 3 steps here in an emergency. Okay, they found Memory Deluge number 4. They're just fully gassed up. Or was that 3? I guess it's 3. One of the cool things about this matchup, though, is they take so many cards out of their own deck with their combo that usually the first Jace can win. Like, they already have 25 cards left in their deck here. Sometimes it just shows up and you 15 them. Okay, I'm going to Deluge from the graveyard. I don't care if they Aftermath Analyst here. That's not what the matchup's about. I would very much like to find a cover-up and strip these World Soul's Rages, the 2 from their hand and the 1 from their graveyard. Analyst activates in response. 5 lands from the graveyard. They're going to 32 life here, but my deck doesn't care about that. But that's why this deck is so good against aggro, because while you just do your combo, it incidentally also gains a ton of life. There was a really cool moment on Pro Tour Top 8 coverage where Sean Goddard was playing against Domain Control with this deck, and Sean, because it was open deckless, Sean knew that his life total was more than their deck could actually do. Like, they just literally could not do enough damage to win, and was able to just tap out fearlessly for a turn because of the incidental life gain and seeing how much their deck was capable of, even if the whole hand was perfect. Speaking of the hand being perfect, I've now gone through half my deck without seeing a copy of my 4 of Deadly Cover-Up. As in addition to the cards I have and the 40 cards left in my deck, I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 additional cards that are on the bottom of my deck now from the Deluges. Yeah, no Deadly Cover-Up, no 3 steps ahead in all these cards. This is insanely bad. And it's not over. We're still playing. If I can get them to play scared, if they think they're in worse shape than they are, if they assume that any reasonable distribution has occurred on my side, then it's not that bad. Okay, Cover-Up has shown up. They have 7, 8, 9, 10, 16 lands in play, which means World Soul's Rage without the help of Virtue of Strength. Not quite lethal. I Cover-Up. I'm going to play Takenuma so I can keep representing Counterspell, even though I don't have it. Make sure I click this correctly. I have exactly enough in my graveyard to exile without Memory Deluging. And here's just the 5 mana Surgical Extraction. That early game World Soul's Rage, hopefully we could punish just that cheeky World Soul for 1. Oh, Sky Turtle's so fucking good. Alright. Well, that was a good save. Oh, I have Tidebinder. Nope, let's get it. Alright, cool. Hopefully this will do enough. World Soul's Rage is out of the deck. How can they win now? There's a Kellen that would have to attack for 19. Fires can't hit a player. Virtue can get back Shigeki, and then they could attack me with Sky Turtle. And there's a Doppelgang that could copy my... Okay. Yeah, Doppelgang is what I'm worried about here. Okay. I mean, I feel good about getting the turtle, but this could be a horrible Doppelgang for me. Because Doppelgang can copy my Restless Reef, and with the Spelunking, they might be able to attack and mill me out enough just with that, even all in one turn. Probably not without the help of a Virtue of Strength. That's this card. But I did just cantrip them twice. Main deck Tidebinder, though, sniping a Sky Turtle is gas. Yeah, it seems like they're just deciding what they're going to doppelgang it for how much. They do have exactly 15 cards left in their deck, though. If I find a Jace before I die, I just win. At 14 mana, they can doppelgang 4 things, so they get 4 copies of 4 things. And they're taking my Restless Reef and a bunch of my lands. They all come in untapped because of Spelunking. So 1, 2, 3. They can activate 3 of these Restless Reefs right now, attack me for 12, mill me for 12. And that wins next turn. It doesn't win now. Oh, and they're summoning sick. Yeah, whoops. Why did I think these could attack now? That's just not even true. And they keep activating them. I think they're going to go to combat, then shame concede. Yeah, they enter on top, but they're summoning sick as creatures. Yeah, that doesn't work until next turn, and I have removal up now. If I draw Jace, the game is over. Okay, how do I want to do this? Doppelgang's gone, Spelunking Nissa in hand. Removal. Deluge. I could deduce now, try to spike Jace, and just win. I guess Deluge does the same thing. Yeah, I'm going to Deluge now. If I find Jace, I win. And if I don't find Jace, I'll just play a land and hold up 2 removal spells. Disappointing. 2 deduces. Alright, I'll take those deduces, play a Restless Reef, and I will kill 2 of these lands. And they found their last Memory Deluge. Despite activating, sinking 12 mana into nothing, they were still able to deluge. That's how many lands are in this deck. Or how much mana this deck generates. They put a bunch of mana in the pool and backed off. I feel like they drew a Virtue of Strength, which doesn't actually change anything. Alright, so Garenbrig Growth gets back Shigeki. Shigeki can get back Doppelgang. They can gang again. I mean, that's pretty good, but it doesn't kill me. I just need to find Jace. Like, I've whiffed so hard this game. 0 counterspells in more than half my deck. I play 6 main deck counterspells between the negates and the other one. Okay, do I want to deduce into a negate here? I don't think so. I think I'd rather keep 2 removal spells up for the lands. But I've ran insanely bad. Like, very clearly, no count, like 1 counterspell ever in this game. And I'm just comfortably winning. But it's okay, because I'm still doing okay. Okay, so this is an attack for 16 and a mill for 16. I'm going to kill 2 of them. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Oh, wait, these are tokens? Son of a bitch. Of course they are. Oops. Alright, yeah. Those lands are tokens. Each opponent sacrifices a token creature. God damn it. Alright, we've both spent energy doing nothing this game. Let's hope that extra 4 damage, extra 4 mil doesn't make the difference, but it probably does. Changes it from a 3-turn clock to a 2-turn clock. All right, here we go. No Jace milled. No Jace milled. 1 Jace milled. Shit. All right, there's one way. I have 1 out in 24 to win the game on the spot. My Takanuma's already been used. Yeah, that 3rd mill was the one that hit Jace. That's all random. Like, that's not like strategy, but yeah, that was just a rules punt because I've never seen that come up, which is why we test. Right, they got back Doppelgang and Sky Turtle, so they can Doppelgang again for a zillion. They can play Nissa, which means that if they copy a million lands, they also get a million mana and tutor all the elves and elementals out of their deck. I don't even know if that's good, but it's very exciting. I'm glad I don't have any Field of Ruins in play, or else they probably could just screw me off enough lands that I don't have basics to replace them anymore. Okay, Doppelgang targeting the Virtue of Strength and basically all of my lands. Now basic lands tap for, if you taps for mana, you get 3 times that much instead. I think these stack, so it's like 3, 9, 27. I don't think it's like 3, 6, 9. I don't know. We'll see what happens when they tap a basic land. None of this beats Jace, hilariously. Like, if I still just find a Jace, I can win. Field of Ruin. Okay, Memory Deluge, start there. Alright, I'll take the untapped land, because that means I can still deduce and cast Jace this turn. Okay, deduce. Has to be Jace. Hate my life. Yep, alright. Ran insanely horribly bad that game. And still came down to, did I find Jace? I think I've seen almost my entire deck at this point, because nothing shuffled my deck, and I've put like 11 or 13 cards on the bottom from various Memory Deluges, and there's 20 cards left, which means I didn't see any of my 6 counter spells until the bottom third of my deck, and didn't find the second Jace. It's in like the bottom, somewhere between 5 and 10 cards that I haven't seen in my deck yet. Tough beats. But we could see how fun this matchup is, and how it's like, it looks like they're doing a lot, but they're actually not. As long as you just have a negate in your hand ever. But, I mean, them taking game 1 is a huge deal, because normally it's pretty free for the control side. That's been my experience anyway. Big sideboard here. Hearse, Duress, Negate, Tidebinders. Yeah, actually, so just through pure variance of where the cards were in my deck, if I had Children's Edict incorrectly, that Jace that was the last card milled would have been in the Memory Deluge on that last turn. All right. Can't be mad at anyone. Okay, removal's really bad in this matchup. Sometimes they pivot onto like Bonnie Paul, or I've seen Tyrannix Rex. Just some big idiot out of the sideboard. And you can shave some number of cover up. I still like it for the surgical effect, but it can still be shaved a bit because the Wrath doesn't matter. And I have enjoyed Aclazotz. I've been playing around with the matchup, and just having this thing that applies real pressure at some point, so you're not just White Knuckles trying to stop their combo. I'm into it. Again, I haven't played with Seed Shark. That could flip the script on this matchup, just something you jam early and they have to respect. I think I'm going to shave a go for the throat and try one. Let's go. I'll keep this hand. It has a Jace and a counterspell in it. The 2 cards that if I saw either of, I win last game. They also have 11 minutes on their clock to my 17 after game 1. If I win game 2, I doubt they'll even have time for a game 3. Not that that's what I want to play to when I'm testing for a regional championship, but just pointing out that that is the case. Kellen, okay. This investigates and they can play an extra land this turn. This can destroy artifacts when it attacks. I have Children's Edict for that. I have found a lot of success just Phyrexianing out Jace in this matchup, especially on the play. And I'm going to plus target nothing. They have the fires in game 1. I think they usually board them out. And red mana is not exactly easy to find in their deck. Untapped red mana. That is the least represented color. Okay, here's Kellen. Whenever Kellen Inquisitive Prodigy attacks, destroy up to 1 target artifact. If you controlled that permanent, draw a card. Okay, so you can kill your own clue to draw a card. I'm just going to plus on Kellen. I can kill it, but if I do that, then I'm not leaving up counterspell. And I would like to just ride this Jace to the end of time. Kellen is attacking, destroying your own clue, draw a card, and they're passing the turn. Without a land drop, that's wild in their deck. Plus on Kellen. Alright, Jace, carry me home, big guy. Memory Deluge is fine. Like we saw game 1, their deck has so much air in it, if I just pick my fights, you could dance around it pretty well. Another Kellen, okay. That means they get another destroy their clue to draw a card. I love the flavor of Kellen is just such an insane detective that he's just destroying clues and shortcutting what they're meant for. I usually have to pay mana for clues. I don't. Alright, I'm going to make them sacrifice this Kellen. I have this Edict, and as long as Kellen's in play, Edict doesn't counter or deal with anything. And they have missed a land drop, gone to discard, and just decided to save time for game 3. That is a smart decision. Okay, cool. That's how it goes if you draw the cards that are good in the matchup. Thinking about Seed Shark, I don't think I have room for a second one. I want to respect the possibility of a creature pivot, and we saw multiple Kellens at least, so I don't want to cut another removal spell. Aclazotz is the thing that could be another Chrome host here, but I really like Aclazotz. Okay, both of the cover-ups that are still in my deck are here. I generally just keep any hand with Deduce and the ability to cast it, but this hand is a little wonky. I found a negate immediately. Good news, everybody. I'm going to hold on to this Takenuma for as long as I can, because I played out Takenuma last game, and if I didn't, I could have won with that Jace that they milled. This is a matchup where you have to think about the scope of your entire deck and their entire deck. And sometimes you have to think about their deck twice because of the Shigeki loop that they have. And I prioritize deducing over getting Restless Reef into play that turn. I also get the benefit of holding up Negate if I do it that way. Now here come the Reefs. Found another counterspell. Starting to form a plan here. Garenberg Growth gets back a fetch land, that's fine. Not going to spend a Negate on that. I generally don't fight over mana development in this matchup. I'd prefer to bottleneck their payouts. Glue. Aclazotz, there he is. 9 cards in hand, perfect. Just what I wanted. Maybe I wasn't supposed to crack the clue. I had a land drop. I would have had to go to discard anyway. Yeah, that was actually probably just not good. I'm going to discard one of my cover-ups. They just don't have a creature in play, and I have 2 of them. And discarding that one turns on the first one. Nissa... I'm going to counter Nissa, or I could cover her up, actually. Alright, I'm actually going to let them have Nissa. The second cover-up in hand makes this kind of exciting. I mean, they're going to have negates in their deck after board, though. Okay, so I have an option here. I could play Aclazotz and risk whatever a turn would look like with Nissa in play, and that plays around Negate. I could let them have Nissa and hold up Negate 3 steps, but then they can just attack for 3 and do stuff. Or I could cover up now. I'm going to take a big risk and just put Aclazotz into play. I don't think they play normal counterspells. It's Negates. And if I could start pressuring their hand right now when they only have 5 mana, like if they go, what would they have to do? Like Spelunking Aftermath Analyst? Or Analyst plus Activate Analyst actually does give them a bunch of mana. And Nissa can hit Analyst off of her search trigger. Yeah, they might get a bunch of mana this turn. Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to counter the Nissa, then play Aclazotz. Plan this out better. They did find an Analyst. They do have the mana to use it. But they're going with Titan of Industry, sure. It says Reach and Trample. They made a Rhino and put a shield counter on Titan. Okay, they did tap out to do this, though, so I'm going to attack with Aclazotz, get the discard. Hopefully they use their shield token to block, and then I can wrath it all away. I'm not convinced they should care about this, though. Cool, I get a bat because they discarded a land. They took the block, which flips Aclazotz into a land and breaks their shield counter. So now I just Rampant Growth and I get to wrath all their shit away. Nice. A Restless Reef, cover up. Exile a card. Exile a card. I could take all the basic islands out of their deck right now. I guess for 5 mana, we're not doing the non-land or non-basic land thing anymore. Do I want islands out of their deck? Or do I want Titans or Nissas? I'm going to take your islands. Just never gotten to do this before. This is fun. Okay. Screenshot the deck for good measure in case I need to check that back out. They do have Bonnie Paul and the ability to cast her. She's pretty big. Memory Deluge can rebuild. He? She? I don't know. Bonnie sounds like a feminine name to me, but I think this is supposed to be Pulp Onion. Okay, creatures' power and toughness are equal to the number of lands you control. That could get really big really quickly. Don't have a good answer to it at this moment. Aclazotz can only transform if somebody has 1 or fewer cards in hand. Well, that's not going to be me. I think I want to start with Deduce. Field of Ruin, Duress You, take the Deluge. There's Analyst Mountain in that hand. Yeah, I might just die to this Bonnie Paul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The Field of Ruin. I guess I have to counter and loot the Aftermath Analyst. Because the Analyst represents at least 4 more lands into play, maybe more. This is 13 as it is. This is 2 hits. And my Wraths are gone. Yikes. Riveteer's Overlook makes Bow an 8. When they attack, they can regrow another one. Makes Bow a 9. Playing Virtue of Strength this turn. I think I'm going to counter loot that. Just got to find removal. Tidebinder turns off Bonnie Paul. That doesn't affect Bow, though. I can block. Alright, I'll put back. I'll discard a negate, I guess. Yeah, just scrambling here. So if I didn't overdraw my clue token earlier and didn't have to discard my first devious cover or deadly cover up to hand size, I would just cover up this and then be easily winning. Okay, yeah, I messed this game up. Good to know. Just keep track of your hand. You don't need to overdraw. Okay, 2 Tidebinders. I can block with Restless Reefs. That's probably what I have to do here. Playing out Takenuma. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. I can animate both of these and trade them off. They do have Death Touch. Aclazotz is waiting. Spelunking. This doesn't affect my life right now. This is where I have to get really stingy with all my cards. They have 1 unknown card in their hand right now. Okay, so they're holding back Bonnie. Bonnie is draw a card. All right, so this is a draw trigger. I could Tidebind Bonnie, cut off that draw trigger, or I could let them have the card hold up negate. I think I'd rather hold up Counterspell in this environment. I don't want to just die to a fireball. My life total is low enough that that's possible. Riveteer's Overlook put into play. 1, 2, 3, 4. Activate my Death Touch blocker. Still have 2 counter spells up. Block. I could give up one of the counter spells to crack my clue. I think I want to do that. I'm desperate. Seed Shark, okay. You've got a lot of text on you right now. I don't care about Aftermath Analyst. Nissa, I can Tidebind. They played a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is, if they have Fireball in hand, I think they can win here with the Analyst plus Nissa plus Spelunking. Did I just throw this like I had Counterspell in hand and tried to get too clever? They just untapped all that mana. Analyst. Right, Nissa doesn't work here. So they could Spelunk a bunch of lands into play, but they don't get all the Nissa triggers off it. And there's no islands to tutor for. Whatever that's good for. Okay, these are all fail to finds. All their mountains are in play. All their forests are in play, and I took all their islands. Okay. Interesting. What a twist. There's a Jace. Now I have a win con. Okay. I can wake up Aclazotz and hold up a counterspell versus their 1 card hand right now. Aclazotz comes in tapped. Well, he doesn't come in. It just turns his Temple of the Dead back around. I think I want Seed Shark, hold up interaction. 1, 2, 3 Seed Shark. 1, 2, 3 Tidebinder. Yeah, I can hold up Tidebinder and negate if I play the Seed Shark. Okay. It's tight, but we're getting there. Starting to stabilize. They got 2 cards in hand. I have 1 unconditional answer. Tidebinder. Oh, this makes their spells uncounterable. What the shit? Okay. Counter target non-creature spell. Alright. Tidebinder doesn't care about that, and I can pay for a negate through that. Bonnie and Nissa attacking. If I Tidebind triple block, then I lose to a spell in their hand. I could just block, but then that turns Nissa back on. Right, I think I have to risk a spell in their hand again. I hate this, but I can't let them have this draw engine forever. It blocks. How do I block now? So I turn Nissa back on with this block, but Bonnie's answered. I'll take that. If they have Fireball in their hand, I probably lose here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they have enough. Just gotta hope that 1 mystery card isn't exactly Fireball. Well, there's Cruel Mana in the pool. Yep, it is the Fireball. God damn, that Malevolent Hermit was such a good find. And I couldn't counter it because it just comes back from the graveyard. It doesn't even matter. Okay, so I messed up that game. Like game 1, just not seeing a counter spell or a cover up or a Jace in the top 40 cards in my deck is just unlucky. But that game, if I just don't crack that clue, don't discard that cover up, then Bonnie never gets a big hit in, and then this game is hilariously easy. So yeah, I punted game 3, ran bad game 1. So okay, I still like this matchup, but we could see how if you get caught slipping and they could get through the cracks pretty easily, or if they just, draw insanely well, running Malevolent Hermit into the 1 card in their deck I was worried about. Sure, okay. On to the final round. The NYSE Open is a prestigious, long-running vintage tournament based out of New York City. It's returning again this summer, June 22nd, 2024 in Plainview, New York. This 15 proxy event has a $500 entry. That's a lot of money, but what are we playing for? First place gets a Black Lotus, 2nd through 8th place get Time Twister, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. At 115 players, a playset of Bizarre Baghdad is added to the prize pool. At 135, 4 Mishra's Workshops. At 155, 4 Foil Gaia's Cradle. This prize pool is better than Eternal Weekend. If you think it's worth playing for, sign up for the event on melee.gg or use the link in the video description, and I will definitely see you there. On the draw in the final round, Deluge Go for the Throat lands. I tend to just keep 7s. Shattered Sanctum. Alright. This could be the Esper deck. Trusty old Esper. One of the marquee decks of the format. Ardenvale Fealty. I could go for the Throat that, or I could wait for them to cast a Rafine and see if I can. Yeah, I don't think I want to. Alright, cool. They didn't play a different creature. They could mana leak that, but it's fine. Field of Ruin, not active yet. I would like Sunken Ruin in at this point. This tells them I don't have 3 steps ahead, but I actually don't have 3 steps ahead. So it's fine. Very Mastermind. A good card. Yeah, Esper's really cool in this format. All the cards are good, and it can be built in a way that's hyper aggressive or in a way that's hyper controlling. Once again, open lists at the RC will help form game plans for that. Okay, we're both drawing cards with Fairy Mastermind. I could Deluge now. I have to go to cleanup for 2 cards, but I think that's better than getting this No Moralized where it's exiled forever. Deduce and Mirix. Alright, it's 1 card because that is a card itself. Do I need 3 Field of Ruins and a Mirix here, or do I want more colored sources? I actually think I'm going to discard Underground River. I think that's worse than all of these cards. There's 1 Underground River in this list, and it always sucks. You kind of have to do it. Alright, there's Virtue. That means Fairy Mastermind's going to start getting big. If I can kill it, it doesn't matter. But if I can't kill it, it will soon be a big problem. Okay, Deduce. Please, removal spell. Alright. Cut down just in time where I can still kill this thing. They get to draw a card off it, but set me free. And I'll just draw a card now before they can flash in another Mastermind on me. Deep Cavern Bat. Alright, I have Counterspell or Wrath of God that unlocks my Counterspell. Wrath, pretty clear. Wedding Announcement makes a 1/1 at the end of turn, which becomes a 2/2 right away if they stack their triggers correctly. And they did. Darkslick Shores sucks. Field of Ruin, go. This deck does play removal. I think I still want to try to block here, though. Because I could cast No Moralize on the removal spell, because the Reef's untapped. Or 3 steps ahead. Or I could save 3 steps ahead to loot, or I could just loot with 3 steps ahead. Yeah, I'm going to loot, actually. I believe that's more important than countering this. Okay, Path of Peril clears the board. Discard one of these Field of Ruins. And Wedding Announcement gets a draw card. I'm at 10. Clearing the Bat also unlocks the cover-up. I can pay for No More Lies. I can't pay for 2 No More Lies. I could Sheoldred's Edict naming non-token and get the cover-up back, but Path of Peril seems really good here. Cool. Alright, those are all gone. And I can still Sheoldred's Edict here because I could sink 2 mana off Citadel into Field of Ruin and flip a Swamp out of the deck. Another Virtue. Mastermind, that's what I was waiting for. Destroy. I don't think this really matters. I'll destroy one of their lands that don't hurt them. This deck does not play Spell Pierce, by the way. At least not usually. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, here we are. Life total getting low. Wedding Announcement. I'm holding a Wrath in my hand, but they know it. Rafine gets a little extra card selection, possibly extra damage here. If they have No More Lies, then they know that their spell resolves. I need to draw Negate here to really be feeling good about anything. 3 steps ahead. 5, 6, 7, 8. Holy smokes, this is so much damage. 3, 4, 5, 6. At 7, there's no universe. There's no permutation here that Go for the Throat will save me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, I will try a cover-up. I expect it to get countered. Oh wow, it didn't. Good news, everybody. Do I want to take the Rafines out of their deck? I kicked it just in case, because it's free to do. I don't use my graveyard for anything except Memory Deluge and Takenuma. Deep Cavern Bat or Rafine? I think I'm actually more worried about Deep Cavern Bat here. Fairy Mastermind has Flash. That could just show up here. But they've used 2 already. Yeah, I'll take Fairy Mastermind. Go for the Throat is the card in their hand. Screenshot their deck list so we know what's going on. This is the classic wedding announcement. 2 Wanderer. Looks like pretty stock Javier Dominguez Esper from the Pro Tour. Okay. I wasn't expecting that to work, but it did. They have a Restless Anchorage. I could have tapped. No, I couldn't. So I tapped in a way that left up. Oh, I have Go for the Throat. Never mind. I have this Field of Ruin. So I'm like, oh man, I could have tapped if I knew that was going to resolve in a way that leaves up Field of Ruin to deal with this Anchorage. But I tapped it away to leave up Go for the Throat, which turns out also deals with Anchorage. I don't really want to take a bunch of extra damage here, so I will just Go for the Throat this, even though Field of Ruin is a much better answer long term. But they play more creature lands, so it's fine. I'll find a spot for that, I hope. And just investing in another Virtue of Loyalty. Any creature they play will be huge, but we have pretty much reached stability here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Reef is better than Mirrex. Okay, they're passing the turn. I'm going to Deluge in the end step. If they no more lies it, it's fine. They got 3 cards over there. Cool. All right, Jace comes to my hand. That's my win condition. Jace Children's Edict, I think, are what I want here. Just keep the pressure off, because they are ultimately an attacking deck. Another cover up. All right, Mirrex, start doing your thing. This Mirrex is an Arne innovation. In Edgar's list, this was the 5th Field of Ruin, the Field of Devastation, or whatever the other version is. And we're about to see Mirrex do its damn thing. Opponent's going to have to respect this eventually, because this is a win con. Another Restless Reef, and I'll attack for 1. 1 Toxic. Something's happening. Rafine, have that covered. Darkslick Shores, Go for the Throat, 1 mystery card in their hand. End step, I will Edict the Rafine and then activate Mirrex. Sacrifice a non-token creature. And then Mirrex. Just keep making land drops and let Mirrex win me this game. I could probably cast Jace very safely here. What am I worried about? Almost nothing. All right, yeah, I'm going to cast Jace. And just plus him. Come in for your life points, your poison points, and your deck points. Use my Sunken Citadel this time for Mirrex, which I probably should have been doing the whole time. Attack for 3. Suddenly 6 poison. They're actually just dead on board to poison. Mirrex scales pretty quick when unencumbered. And they play Denick in their deck, which is a disturb spell, which means I'm not going to just target them with Jace to draw a card. They're dead on board. They got to answer this. Rafine. Okay. Let's see if I care about this. Long Goodbye, Cut Down. I don't care about this. I'll take both of the spot removal spells. They have an Anchorage. Oh, Rafine. I forgot about the wedding announcement. Wedding festivity flipped. Rafine's already unkillable. It's fine. I have the Long Goodbye. I shouldn't have taken the Cut Down, though. That could be just literally anything. All right, they're activating their Anchorage because I have foolishly tapped out of Field of Ruin. And this is a cool trick because they get to trigger their Virtue of Loyalties, which make the Anchorage bigger, and untap it so it's available as a blocker. I am not going to pay the ward for the 2nd time in this league. Got him. They still have to Go for the Throat just to be alive here, though. Just kill off a Phyrexian token, and they'll go to 9 poison when they do that. Attack. Okay, they're animating this thing. I will destroy it. Oh, right, these are artifacts. You can't even Go for their throats. They don't have throats. Yeah, Mirrex was an all-star there, for sure. Good data. Okay, what is their list about? They've got Wedding Announcement. They've got No More Lies. They're mostly a creature deck. I feel like this is a great spot to try the Seed Shark. Tidebinder is, like, fine. It can hit a Rafine trigger. I don't think I need this, though. Essence Scatter, really good here. Also new to the list, doesn't line up with my previous mapping attempts. I think I'm just going to bring in a bunch of creatures to tangle with their creatures. Do I want my 3rd negate for Wedding Announcement and Virtue? And if so, what am I cutting? Don't really want to cut removal. Guess my creatures don't matter if their creatures are way bigger. All right, once again, 1 Seed Shark. Mostly for aggro, which I didn't really play against in this league. I think this is fine. They're a deck with Duress and Deep Cavern Bat, so I'm not trying to mulligan to like the perfect 6 or 5. Just have 7, be able to cast spells when I draw them. Double Caves of Coilless, that hurts. I can deduce on their turn, even if they have a blue source into Fairy Mastermind. I've only drawn 1 card this turn. All right, slamming the Wedding Announcement. I don't have the negate. Darkslick Shores, right on time. The negate, also right on time. Sack of crap. I hate you. Okay. Well, all right, they unlocked blue. If they suddenly Rafine, that's obnoxious. Okay, here's that spot from last round where I could crack my clue, but then I might have to go to discard, and that might affect me later. Post-combat Rafine got me. Yeah, not having the negate on the turn Wedding Announcement came down, proving to be a disaster. Aclazotz is very good in this matchup, though. They draw 3, discard 3. This is where this deck really goes off. If their hand wasn't good yet, it is now. Discarded 3 spells, it's just the full boat of damage. And I am going to play a land and cast a spell this turn, so I can crack my clue. Okay, Aclazotz or Wrath, what do I actually think is more important to have in play? They have 1 counterspell, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They can put me to 1 next turn, just with what's on board. I think I want to start with Aclazotz. Yeah, they had the No More Lies, no surprise there. They've seen 1,000 cards. Yeah, this went very poorly. Just no removal spell, and then the negate showed up a little late. And that's that. Now I'm too far behind to play. Maybe I'm supposed to mulligan that. I said I don't like to mulligan versus the Duress and that deck, but maybe I'm just supposed to. And now at 1, even if Cover Up resolves, Fairy Mastermind or Virtue just kill me in the end step. Or they could even find 1 extra damage now. All right, yep, that was a bloodbath. Okay, that hand was bad. My negates are all in. Seed Shark would have been good there. Is Seed Shark better than Shieldred? Maybe. It just comes down a turn earlier. I'll try it. That's flying. Shieldred punishes the hell out of Rafine. Okay. Removal spells and reloads I'll keep. They've got an Anchorage. I've got another Cut Down now. Multiple removal spells. I'm going to cut this bat down in response to its trigger. Go for the Throat. Just kills more things in their deck more reliably. They get to look at my hand, but they don't get to take anything. And they now know what they're up against. Aclazotz, nice find. Nice card for them to not know about. Okay, they're playing a Rafine out. They know she's going to die, but just got to work through my cards. They can't just not cast spells. Blue. And let's test this Seed Shark. Yeah, I hope this just flips the script on them, because now this is in the way of most of their attackers. Wedding Announcement resolves. But now we're both tapping out. If I draw a land and jam Aclazotz here, shit, didn't happen, but okay. I'm just going to Deluge now where they can't counter it. This puts a 4/4 Incubator token, and I get to hit my land drop. Restless Reef, Shieldred's Edict. I think that's better than DCU at this point. I'd rather block. Maybe I'm a wuss, but I'm a control deck. I don't want to suddenly spiral out of control if they go like Rafine in for 3. I'd like to absorb that if I can. Also, not attacking means that Wandering Emperor can't clear my Shark. In a turn, they just get a bunch more dorks. They're holding up No More Lies. I think I'm just going to pass into this. These will be 3/3 soon. All right, end step, I'm just going to put some pressure on the board. Each opponent sacrifices a creature token. And then I can flip my 4/4 and my 2/2 awake. I can at least flip the 4/4 awake and hold up negate. Or I could also wake up the 2/2 and just see what happens. What's the worst that could happen? They resolve Wandering Emperor right now. No, I'm just going to enjoy the 4/4. I drew Field of Ruin. That's nice. Get those anchorages under control over there. Now I can Deluge in the end step. Start testing their counter spells. Wandering Emperor confirmed. Okay, I will negate that. Glad I didn't tap out in the end step. They know about 3 steps ahead. They don't know about Aclazotz. Their tokens will be 3/3s at the end of this turn. Okay, so We're clearly in some sort of sub-game here. I think they have no more lies because they know I have this counter spell. Counter target spell. Might as well loot. Spell Pierce. I don't think they're going to have Spell Pierce, but I will still not loot. That gives me a 1-drop I can activate. I fully expect this to get countered. And then I play my Aclazotz, and they get the first attack, which means they get the first card draw with it. But I have mine in play too. I don't know. This is going to get weird. Theirs is bigger. There's actually a lot bigger because they're going to get a second wedding announcement this turn. Wake up another Phyrexian token. Oh, I drew the perfect card. Maybe I should have woken up a 2/2 or a 1/1 instead. All right, well, when life gives you nuts, make nut aid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Done. I get a 5/5 for the road, and I get to exile Aclazotz straight up. Usually a 1-of, and confirmed is a 1-of, but it's not coming back. Okay, that was really good. Really timely. I can destroy an anchorage or fire up a 5/5 this turn. They can activate both anchorages and then map onto the other one with the basic they find. I'm definitely destroying one, though. I don't want them mapping and getting card advantage, getting creatures that are going to be bigger than my Aclazotz. They get me for 4. They get a map. They can map onto the anchorage and start getting that selection. Denick. Okay. That is a 4/5 lifelink with a double wedding festivity. Another cover-up. Sick. All right. We've got a long-term plan. And Aclazotz likely to draw a card next turn. Yep, here comes Anchorage. Much bigger than my Aclazotz already. Attack, map, no block. Denick. Mapping onto the lifelink creature. Oh, they hit a land. That's so annoying. I mean, I make a bat now, but I don't get to draw a card. Okay, now I do get to draw a card. Cool. Do I want to fire up my 5/5, or am I going to block this turn? I think I want to fire up my 5/5. I'm not going to Wrath this turn. I don't want to sweep up my Aclazotz just yet. Until I know how to answer this anchorage, I'm not in a hurry to knock my Aclazotz out of play. So I don't think. Shipwreck Marsh. I should have attacked with this, I guess. Or no, it keeps Denick back. All right, no, this is fine. I can Memory Deluge this turn. I'm just looking for a way to clear the anchorage, and then we're basically running away with it. I can Deluge now, but there's no 1-drop I can find, so I'll just let them do their thing. They're not gaining life, and I am. Denick can gain life. All right, they're mapping onto Denick this time. Revealed no more lies from the graveyard. I don't think they're going to keep that. Nope. And then in my end step, Deluge. Let's find an answer to these cards. Sick. Field of Ruin, go for the throat. 1/2, done. Denick can come back whenever one or more creature cards are put into graveyards from anywhere. Investigate. This triggers once per turn. That's the backside of this. It does fly. It's still smaller than Aclazotz. I will go for its throat. This also is just lethal because they're at 8. Right. Cool. Okay. A 2-3 record. Negative record. Not what you want, but learned a lot. Played against 3 decks I haven't seen before. The Golgari mid, which is a deck that's on the rise in Standard. I've seen more chatter about that, but that's the first time I've gotten to play against it. That Jund Mounts deck, I've never even seen. And that Simic Artifact Tempo, never seen that either. And then I punted against Teamer Analyst, a matchup that I've played a lot of and I think is good. All of these are learning opportunities. I'm playtesting here. Also, as always, playing distracted because I'm trying to narrate and be entertaining and stuff on top of my testing. That Hopelessness versus aggro decks, though, where you just like 3-for-1 them and then die anyway, that I would like to start to address. Edgar's list had a copy of the Celestis in it, which has passive life gain and passive card selection, which I missed a lot in this league. I've been talking to Pokemoki a lot about this deck too. He has Aclazotz in the main, which is kind of it's a big lifelink body, which is really nice. It's really good in a lot of matchups, but also just kind of being creatureless in game 1 and then juking onto creatures game 2 is part of the game plan. So I don't know if having Aclazotz in game 1 messes up the plan too much, but it might be fine. I did like the Mirrex over the 5th Field of Ruin. I just think the upside of that is a lot, because Field of Ruin is completely blank versus Analyst combo, and Mirrex can start pressuring them on a board where nobody's doing anything, which is frequently how that game looks. Yeah, I like this deck. I'm basically locked on it. I just have to play tight and figure out my flex slots. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.